Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy has gained a reputation for being a bit of a haha content creator fall down, go boom, and scream hysterically into the face cam kind of game. This is quite intentional. From the beginning, the titular developer narrates his game design intentions to the player, wanting to create a B game similar to Jazzuo's Sexy Hiking, the awkward and cheap design of which leads to a vertical difficulty curve. Getting Over It is not especially long nor complex. The game can be speedrun in a few minutes, and the only mechanic is to climb the mountain using your hammer, which can be done just by moving the mouse. However, the obtuse movement of said hammer, having to puzzle solve how to traverse each obstacle, Bennett's continual monologuing, backhanded reassurances, snide comments, and, most of all, the extreme punishment for making mistakes all contribute to making the process a lot more difficult than it needs to be. For these reasons, and also perhaps because the game is largely known for being played by internet personalities, Getting Over It might be labeled as rage bait, a kind of game that's intentionally trying to troll the audience to get a rise out of them, especially good for a streamer or a YouTuber who can make it the funny face. I think that assessment is not fully inaccurate. Getting Over It is certainly doing its best to make you upset, but I feel as though there's a bit more nuance as to why it's trying to make you angry. In the first half of the game, Bennett Foddy narrates over you with the general game design philosophy and inspirations behind Getting Over It. Some of it is kind of pretentious or nonsensical and occasionally off-the-cuff slam poetry, but I'm going to do my best to condense and paraphrase what I think the point of what he's trying to say during this extended monologue is. In short, Bennett posits that in the digital age, art and media is produced and consumed so quickly that it all accumulates into cultural trash, or a culture that has been separated from the original context from which it was produced and swiftly forgotten by the ever-moving nature of the internet. He argues that culture can still be made from media in this state, but that the original context will always be lost, meaning that only B culture can be produced as a result. The game exemplifies this by having a mountain composed of a grand assortment of various junk, a landfill of randomly assorted assets for the player to climb to represent 3D models, social media posts, artwork, and ideas left behind. Foddy notes that under these circumstances there is a large incentive to make friendly or safe media, as what is the point in putting a large amount of effort into something challenging if the audience will just forget the intent and throw it away a day later? Bennett ultimately concludes, however, that by making this game, there is value in creating art that can be frustrating, challenging, and infuriating because, well, if you've made it this far into it, you must be getting something out of it.
Trash is disposable, but maybe it doesn't have to be approachable. What's the feeling like? Are you stressed? I guess you don't hate it if you got this far. Feeling frustrated? It's underrated.
Based on his previous work on titles such as QWOP and VVVVV, Bennett Foddy seemingly has a predisposition towards unfair and strangely designed games. The protagonist's name, Diogenes, is a reference to the ancient Greek philosopher of the same moniker, who supposedly lived in a large ceramic jar and helped to found modern philosophical ideas of cynicism by criticizing Greek society. I think within this context this is meant to represent Bennett's desire to challenge and criticize standard game design practices such as useful save states or being nice to the player.
When games were new, they wanted a lot from you. Daunting you, taunting you, resetting and delaying you. Players played stoically. Now everyone's turned off by that. They want to burn through it quickly, a quick fix for the fickle, some tricks for the clicks of the feckless.
While Getting Over Its controls are intentionally bad, unlike its B-game inspirations, it seems that the source of the sense of accomplishment and enjoyment for both are the same: to get over it. As mentioned in the episode on Celeste, mountains are often just as much literal obstacles as they are metaphorical ones. Getting Over It both refers to climbing over the literal hill of garbage Bennett has placed in front of you and ascending to space, but also the myriad of intangible obstacles, the wonky controls, incessant and obnoxious commentary, your own temperament, bucket physics. Indeed, there is a certain pride in being able to beat a game that is not designed well, intentionally or no, to solve a puzzle that did not come with a solution. The reoccurring song Going Down the Road Feeling Bad is thematically appropriate, as it centers around someone who is doing exactly what the title implies, but he also ain't gonna be treated this away, much like how the player is treated poorly by the developer, but bravely continues forward, even if just out of spite. Towards the end of the game, Bennett really starts to eat the microphone as if he's trying to do ASMR, and it creates a very weird contrast between his earlier, more condescending lines.
I'm glad you came. This thing that we call failure is not the falling down, but the staying down.
The point is, he starts thanking the player for just taking the time to make it this far and congratulates them, being kind of nice for the first time in the game. It feels honest, and because of that I don't really want to accept that this game is just about trolling people. I really think that B games and the importance of how art is expressed is important to Bennett, so the idea that someone would take the time to finish his game would mean a lot to him. I can't say that I fully understand the true extent of what Mr. Foddy is trying to tell me, but I guess I do understand that there is value in getting over it.
I'm going down the road feeling bad. Lord, I'm going down the road feeling bad. I'm going down this road feeling bad. And I ain't gonna be treated this away.